Woo. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. No entry. No entry is right. We're going to be on YouTube a fair amount this week. Yeah. Just spiking through. Picking up where we left off. It'd be interesting to see what the all-time highs stats are for it. Nothing that I tracked, obviously, but look at this just flying. Look at this just flying. Can do some more executions for you guys this week as well. So, yeah. Gross. This, we were talking about this last week, this sort of tap in. We were wanting to see how violent this movement was. We're inside of this large range, and this low here was actually the main decision maker. We've been inside of it ever since. We ran the low, we ran the high, we now ran the low again, and we're still finding that we're inside of a range. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got either a change of personality of something occurring here, right? You saw that this movement up was a little lethargic, and then we had a lethargic movement down, which sent us higher. If we get a movement up, which then ends up being in a violent movement away, and we end up CSDing here, then I think we're in for a wild ride. And we're likely going to trade back down to this manipulation leg, maybe in the 700s or lower. And that's going to be probably pretty violent. That's probably going to be pretty violent. Yep. So again, no real model or anything from this to the open. Certainly blasting the other way, but I'm not terribly interested in taking anything against this. So I'll wait to see what the pullback looks like. Let's see what goes on. This is going to be approached as if we were starting all over again. So we'll see. We'll see what we get. Let's get that ES chart to be 1 minute as well. How's everybody's weekend? Hey, Samir. Good. .36 it's supposed to be here, and stormy. So we're gonna have a wild week as well where I'm at. Just slept in all week. All week or weekend? All right. Nice. Needed it. Monday morning. Apparently I need it too. I think waiting for the 15-minute opening range is important. If you're unsure of direction, right? We get a strong 15-minute close, then we can either anticipate the high, or we can anticipate some sort of a flip, or we've got very, very important information. Worst case scenario, we get a trade around like 10 o'clock or something, and away we go. Can you guys see the charts all right? Obviously, I did a little bit to the stream over the weekend. Goal for this week is to be a masterclass in patience, as I think that last week, more so than others, and especially in range environments, those that are patient end up getting most of the cleanup, don't they? Closing above this candle, probably strong. Probably strong attempt at attacking the highs. Again, not looking to be too aggressive. Let's actually zoom this in a little bit. You guys can see. I'm not too concerned about what's going on to the left of the ES chart. ES is primarily on there for SMT. Sideways here is probably not a good sign, given that there was a decent sell-off. But again, not exactly eager to jump in, even with decent probability of taking the high. Why am I yawning so much? My goodness. Gotta get some music pumped in here, don't we? Ooh, if this inverts, then we take the lows. And this, I mean, this is kind of exactly why the first 15 minutes, you want a little bit more caution than otherwise. Rather than forming a heavy bias based off the 1 minute chart, we're trying to determine what the 15-minute candle is going to look like. So you could probably justify, like, hey, like, we pulled back, we're closing above this candle, it's strong, but very, very likely we trade back into this, and that hasn't been achieved yet. No SMT yet, everything's moving in tandem. So we'll see what goes on. We'll see. I'm sure people will be aggressively buying this low. It's probably valid to do so, but again, not interested in 10 points. If it ends up being a double bottom, then it runs a high. Cool. You can understand why people would be positioned for it. And maybe waiting for flips and the like. Really good reaction, however. Well, you're obviously happy if you bought that straight out of the gate. Probably be break even otherwise right now. Shouldn't return back down to there. I was kind of more seeing if we're going to take this week low or not. This is sort of our freedom model swing. Right, ideally I would have wanted to see something a little bit more conclusive up here to be able to get involved short, rather than just like a 1 minute sweep. At least some sort of accumulation manipulation. Ideally that happens around here, but we didn't get that. We did not get that. And yes, just hanging out sideways as well, which isn't exactly strong for NQ, even if it does end up being the weaker. Ooh, there she goes. What do we get? Kicking and screaming. Kicking and screaming. Again, ideally, what do we want? We want some sort of buying coming in. Bearish candle, not exactly ideal, even if it does close inside. And then we want everybody ran out. You've got your S&DR area here, cool. You'll likely get a little bit of a move from that, but again, 3 minutes in that 15-minute candle. Probably just going to unload and at least take this low here at 89s. Third time's the charm. Nice work, man. There she goes. There she goes. Now what? Probably got a decent shelf here at 64s. Woo! Yep, I haven't taken anything myself. I think that it's perfectly fair to hit it here for price action wise, but there's your 64s. So didn't grab anything there. Obviously, this was a little bit more violent than I would have liked, but we'll see what goes on. Do we retest back down to here? Possibly. Maybe even further. We got London lows at 804. Either way, getting involved in there. Nice work. All right. Inversion, perhaps. Aggressive trade. Now we determine if this is going to bounce back up. We see some resistance up here at 902. There's our 5, looking ominous. 15 for sure. 15 for sure, looking very, very toppy. Hopefully we get something back up into here, which would allow us to get short. From anywhere from pretty much 904 to that low at 96. I think would be great. Woo! Do not trade against this. Do not trade against this. Nothing yet, not even an aggressive one. We'll see. We'll see, we'll see, we'll see. Very similar to our back testing on Sunday, actually, isn't it? This price movement. Okay, so our 15-minute candle closed quite weak, or at least quite bearish. If you want to consider that strongly bearish or weak in general, that works too. I do think we retest up there. Am I going to sit and wait? You might get some sort of failure in here which would allow you to get involved, but if she does move, she'll be kicking and screaming. Probably could have hit that there. Probably could have hit that there for the movement back up. Got to make a valid low here, though, if you are long. Got to make a valid low here. Woo. Yeah, that was a mess. That was a mess. We're now trading into this area of interest. We want to see what ends up happening. Right? Ideally something strong coming out of it from the bearish side of things. But that was a pretty decent spot to, or at least price action wise, to take an aggressive trade back in. Very, very strong. 10 seconds left in this candle. I want to see if this area respects or not. Otherwise, we might get a sweep and a flip down. We'll see. But this is trading back in. And no PA, no trade. This will end up being the 70%. Nice little wombo area of interest. If we go sideways, then it's not going to be respected and we might just fly up. I think that it'll likely trade, assuming this doesn't have catastrophic failure, this will likely trade and hold in this area. But nothing that I like to see yet, other than that long, which was a miss. And I'd probably be out of it already, if I'm honest, even with the strength. Strong sell-off, recovered quite nicely. Probably going to be looking for this high at 37s. It's just not slowing down. A lot of nice selling coming in here, though. We'll see if it can generate anything on this candle. Right, stepping up into the manipulation leg that really sent us down in the first place. That's good. But yielding nothing so far. I do think we pull back down to the 900s. When she's ready. A lot of accumulation here in the 20s. A lot. Which I really like for short. But we need to actually generate something first. Nope. Can't justify going long here for their breakout. Nice trade, Zach. Yeah, I hesitated in there, and I shouldn't have. Beautiful, beautiful long. Beautiful long. Green is good, isn't it? Okay, we'll see if we get a closure underneath this. And if that gives us some sort of trade to come back down into here, which I think would be a major objective. Waiting to see what kind of reaction we've got. So far, we don't really have any clear direction. We've got, if we had to be guessing, we'd be guessing based off of the short side. Strong movement. Cool. Right? But I don't want to get caught if this was a liquidity drop and then the hourly ends up with just a huge wick on the bottom. I'm trying to determine what our initiative price action is. Right? So we get a valid high, and then that gives us more structural ideas. Right? Now if we trade back into 922 and we see some sell pressure, then I'll probably hit that. Assuming we close down here, if this ends up being a weak candle inside of this range, this little pseudo range, then nope. In fact, this is probably even a long for trap shorts. We'll see. Six seconds. See if it drops back down, and then we've got a little bit of a ride going on. Not wild about taking it along this high up. See if we get down to the 920s again. Probably should have hit that on the close, but don't really want to trade this based off momentum. And that should at least run this high at 35. Might not give it to us, lads. Let's drop it around here in the 30s. Okay. Ugh. Oh my god. Yeah, I should hit that sweep as well. Not terribly confident in taking it inside the wombo area. We've now just ran the high out, so this could be manipulation. Now I have to sit on my hands. So I want to position myself where if I'm right, like this had the potential of dumping. Right? I still think that like we've now ran this high, so now we have to wait and see what goes on in here. That doesn't mean that this isn't a valid trade idea, but for me it's not a valid trade idea anymore because I need to see, like, if I'm long here, what's my objective? My objective at worst is that we're going to run the high out. And if we get that run the high, right, then we've got accumulation, manipulation, and gone. But either way, I'm right if it wants to drop because it has to take the high. Right? And ES actually ran the AM highs out already, as you can see. There's no CSD here. This is going to be a lethargic pullback. But not what I want to see on NQ. So still sitting here. Back down to the 900s. We'll see if this ends up continuing to be a range or if this is going to dump. And we're trading very, very quickly on the dome, as you can see. So if it's going to blast down, this is exactly how it's going to do it. Otherwise, it's just going to fly. Okay, very, very important candle. If we maintain this range. Should actually check. No red folder news today. Okay, we got a red folder tomorrow. Good. Very important response here. If we get something similar to this, where we kind of went sideways, try to buy, like we look at this as in, there's buying pressure in here. We don't know if it's going to work. Nobody knows if this is going to hold this up or not. And if it doesn't hold it up, then you likely have a very, very fast movement down because of all the buying that occurred in here. Well, they're going to bail, aren't they? Right? So this is the area of inversion here where we've broken it Now we've flipped to the upside. We're going to determine if this holds to the upside again. And I think it might. Yeah.
Order submitted.
So I'd like this candle to ideally close bullish. If it closes underneath here, it's probably not going to end up being held to a 20-point stop if this lets go. Because it in reality shouldn't trade underneath 96. Now, I don't really like this, but we're finally in our area of interest. We're going to see if this gets held up. Right, bearish is not ideal. Don't really want this rally being short-lived. Lots of sell pressure. Let's go, let's go, let's go, lads. Don't like that failure of that valid high candle coming back in violently. This is actually really violent, so we'll see. We'll see if it was just picking up the last orders and it's got somewhere to go. I'm going to take this off here. Not the trade back in I wanted at all. Annoying. It's very annoying if it ends up working out, but we'll see. And now I'm hands off of it. The trade that I wanted was the tap back in and leave. It failed to make a valid low inside of this. But, no. And now look at the thing. We'll see. We'll see, we'll see, we'll see. It's a little bit late to the party. Would have been, what, 10, 15 points, but not as clean and clear as I would have liked. So it looks like it still might end up working out. At least it's pushing as if it should, but I'm not going to get involved here in the 20s. Look at it go. Kai! What's going on, man? Let's give a shout out to the big guy. If we stay range bound inside of here, right? Obviously, you're seeing ES as being quite weak. NQ getting held up, a key area of interest, and that would have been the 20-point trade. And it looks like it wants to blast off at least above this high. Yeah, I hesitated in here. I liked the long. I avoided the shorts. I think Matt actually crushed it short. That long was beautiful. I just grabbed a long in here, but ended up taking it off for something small as this came back in after failing here. It's a little bit unclear, so sitting and waiting. Don't want to get caught up in something similar to this. I didn't like how this already ran that high out, but we're going to see if this ends up squeezing the hell out of everybody. Not today. We're going to be live all week. We'll be live all week, and we're going to actually do two day off for me. No red folder news Monday. Yeah. There's not much going on today. Big red folder tomorrow, so it'll be interesting to see where the candle ends up printing. There's your last 3 15-minute candles, right? So the chances that people hold beyond this without taking profits are very, very low. And we kind of saw that with people destroying this short into our area of interest and then rallying. But I actually should have marked that out at 847 level. Stabbed into it. Clean in hindsight. Morning, Chico. What do you guys think in the chat? We're gonna do accounts on Thursday. But what other day should we do them? What other day do you guys want to have a giveaway going? This is very much an if A then B type setting where you're inside the middle of the range now. And you might theorize, well, we should take the high, but why? Why would we take the high? Why do we need to take the high? All right, the 15-minute actually just flipped. Right? We're actually bearish until proven otherwise. I just didn't like how this held or displaced above this area. That meant that we were actually trading back up to here. This, in fact, was a little bit of a risky trade. Would I give away the 1 month mentorship again? I could be talked into it. Now that everything's sorted out with family and whatnot, I think we're going to going to be doing a lot more actually for our guys in the psychological aspects. A lot of you guys in here actually flying. It's wild to see how well some of you guys are trading. It's awesome. It's awesome. Matt, it's nice to see, Matt, you took Friday off and came back Monday and crushed it. BizRound has been crushing it. A lot of you guys have been doing really well. A lot of you guys are seeing actually some big benefits, and then you're really being pointed out one day or so that's really impeding your progress, which is a really interesting place to be as well. And I think everybody gets to that point at some point in your training. You either trade every day and you get to that point where you're like, man, if I didn't trade that one day in the week, I'd be flying. Or you only trade specific days if specific things happen, like Kai, for example. He's taking the day off today. And it's cool to see the ETF team that actually trades. Right? You know when your wheelhouse is. Yeah. It is nice, isn't it? Right? That composure. That if I see something that makes sense to me, then that I'm in. Right? This is grinding lethargically. So we're waiting to see if there's going to end up being a flip here, and then what the response is. Otherwise, I think we run above this 960 level. We've now ran this high out. You see ES is trading back up to its area of interest. Very, very easy to justify, well, why don't I just take something in the 20s and make 10 points? And that's probably fine. There's probably a scalp to be had there. I'm not really clear on what the direction is, and I don't want to get caught in a dump. The byproduct of that is that you might miss the squeeze. There's always a trade-off. Right? But people here are scaling in short, and you're inside of your wombo level. Right? This didn't end up trading the 23.6, which is more interesting information. I think that we end up trading higher, at least above this, but I'm not positioned for it, as you can see. Right? Not exactly the sell-off that you want. And if you're looking at it, then what you're saying is that if I wanted to get short, I need at least some sort of a flip. We flipped here and it generated nothing. And once this candle closed above this, then you could argue that that flip was just facilitating a small pullback to our area of interest. And I wish I had my 9.0 whatever long back. Just did not like how that failed to close there. I wanted something like this. I got that garbage. So probably just should have just held, but hindsight. Hindsight, hindsight, hindsight. Oops. So now what? That area obviously respected. We're trading into this. We got our double top, which generated nothing. We've got this sort of rounding behavior. We're going to determine if we're going to take this low here at 920. And if it's sort of like a weak movement that takes it, or a firefly, and then we end up trading back into here, then we know that we're not quite done yet. ES, you'll notice the flip actually occurred all the way down here. This isn't a flip. This is just sort of an SMDR area that's facilitating a pullback. You're down into your 920s. A lot of volume in here. So I'm not surprised if we get held up. Yeah, we're going to be doing a lot more with NLP, I think, in the coming months. Starting with this one. And more specifically tailored to people's... this is violent, lads. Careful. This very well could end up being a firefly, but we'll see. If it respects here in like the high 20s, low 30s, then we're going to dump. Otherwise, this is going to run. So closure above this candle, and then some sort of sideways PA, I'd probably get involved for the movement to 960. But not much that I like out of this. In terms of high probability, I can understand looking for longs. And look at that. Look at that scoop. Right down to the area we wanted. Didn't get our sweep, but here we are. What do we get? We already bounced off of it. We just gonna lift now? Oh my goodness. In retrospect, I did tap back into the high 30s that I wanted. You couldn't justify this stall candle, but I'm not going to be buying breakouts in a range. I wanted some sort of a bearish candle. In reality, tapping back into that would have been fine, but there'll be more price action. Sitting here watching it all, eh? Just not much I liked about it. Let's see if we get some sort of a weak candle over pullback. If you guys are already involved in this, or you decided to trade something aggressively in here, cool. It wasn't really anything that I was interested in. And the main reason, because the 15 is actually still bearish, we had a valid, credible high. So just not much that I liked. I do like this 960 high here at 61, but didn't position myself on this candle, wanted it a little bit deeper, and ended up missing it like a fool. There it goes. Oh, it's infuriating. Here comes the AM highs on both, moving in tandem. Lovely. Potentially SMT if there's failure here, but didn't get involved. Didn't get involved. Talking about it here. Ended up getting peanuts out of this entire move. What a baby. Let's see, let's see, let's see. Should be some major profit taking here, but you'd be hard pressed to suggest that we're not going higher as well. Need to see some more information. Inside candle, good. If you're holding for the highs, you're probably still good so far. Again, would expect there to be some significant profit taking above this high, as this is a major objective. This was the manipulation that sent us down. Stall candle probably sends us above the highs. We'll see. Would love a little SNDR here, but ES is already challenge the highs there. Right, just not really the sell pressure you'd want to see from NQ. So if we stall here, then we fly up, which would be great. Right, I think we've got some major area of buying here. If we don't take the high and we come back into it, that'd be ideal. Barely tapping into the 36s. We might get our 1030 macro at that as well. Double stall. Oh. Yeah. Yep. I knew I should have hit that there. Just not wild about it. Uh, 80 points, 90 points, watched it go. Does everybody understand at least why we were looking for the highs, what we wanted to see? Even if we weren't able to get any quality entries on it? I think that this was decent. My conviction in this one wasn't very, very high, but why we were expecting to trade into this inverse here. You don't need everything on your charts, right? You don't need everything on your charts. You need to know exactly what price should do and then react accordingly. This ended up being a firefly. I wanted this to sweep out liquidity, not close down here. So couldn't get involved in that. Annoying. Yeah, I like the hourly that ended up closing in here, right? So sweeping underneath this, good. Right, the 15 minute, this was a credible high on the 15, which